Somewhere in your company right now, there's a meeting on. You are not on the invite list. You never were. This meeting is called the Calibration Meeting, and every number attached to your career was decided inside. Your raise, your rating, your promotion, your future, all of it. Without you. Here is what makes this worse. This meeting happened last, while you were preparing your talking points for your upcoming review. They were already finished. The decision was made. The number was locked. The conversation about you was over. The question is not whether this meeting happened. It did. In every company. Every year. The real question is, what do you do now that you know? Here is how your review actually works. You spend weeks preparing. You document your wins. You rehearse your answers. You think carefully about what. You walk in confident and ready. But the decision was not made in that room. It was made in a completely different room, 3 to 6 weeks. That room had your manager in it, your manager's manager, a senior HR partner, and a spreadsheet with your name on it. They had a budget, a fixed number, a pool of money divided among every person on the entire team, before anyone walked into any review meeting anywhere. Most companies lock salary budgets in Q3, 3 full months before Q1 reviews begin. The number existed before the conversation. Your performance in that review meeting could not change. You were not presenting your case. You were being informed, and you never knew the trial had already happened. But here's the bug nobody ever names out loud. The calibration meeting is not only about budget, it is about a narrative is built from information you were never given. In that room, your manager speaks for you, not your work, not your output, not your results. Your manager's perception of your work, their memory of it. And that perception is built over 12 months of small invisible. You did not know were being recorded. The meeting you spoke up in, or didn't. The project you pushed back on, or didn't. The difficult conversation you initiated, or didn't. The visibility you created, or didn't. Every one of those moments was quietly adding to a story, being written about you without your input. Your actual performance was never the input, your perceived. And perceived performance is constructed long before any review conversation begins. The bug was never in your work. The bug was in what the system was actually measuring. Your manager is not your evaluator in that room. You manager. And most employees spend their entire career, never giving their lawyer anything to argue with. Consider this case. Subject James, 34, Senior Project Coordinator. 3 years of exceeds expectations ratings. Consistent. 0 complaints. 0 visibility outside his immediate team. 0 conversations about his ambitions or goals. In his calibration meeting, his manager said, James is solid, reliable, does good work, no issues. The manager, sitting across the table, said, my person led the Q3 client recovery project, identified the risk before anyone else, saved the company $200,000 in. I am putting them forward for promotion. James received a 2.8% raise. The other employee received. James never knew this conversation happened. He walked into his review believing his work would speak for. It didn't, because work never speaks. People speak on your behalf. Or they don't, and James never gave anyone anything worth saying. Finding number 2, the 90-day window. This is the window that decides everything. Everything that happens in the 90 days before your calibration is what gets discussed in that room. Not last year, not 2 years ago, not the project that saved the quarter 18 months before your review. The last 90 days. This is when your manager builds the story they will tell. This is when the narrative gets written. This is when the numbers get attached to names. And if you spent those 90 days being quietly excellent and completely invisible, the story written about you will be exactly that. Quiet, invisible, forgettable, average. Research on performance calibration shows that recency bias accounts for over 60% of how managers perceive employees at review time. What you did in October matters more than everything you delivered from January through August combined. The system does not reward consistency. It rewards recent visibility. And most employees spend their entire year optimizing for the wrong metric. Here is the decoded truths of case number 002. The meeting that decided your salary happened last month. You were not invited. You never will be. But here is what changes everything. You do not need to be in that room. You need to have already shaped what gets said in that room before it ever starts. The employees who consistently win calibration meetings are not the ones who work hardest in January. They are the ones who spent October, November, and December making absolutely certain their manager had a story worth telling. A specific story, a story with numbers in it, a story with names and projects and outcomes, a story that was impossible to ignore when the budget was being divided. Your review is not an evaluation. It is a presentation. Your manager is the one presenting. Your only job the entire year is to write their slides. The system was never broken. It was designed exactly like this. And now you have the code. 3 patches. Apply them starting today. Patch number 1. Start the 90-day clock right now. Whatever your next review date is, open your calendar and count back 90 days. That date is your real deadline, not the review meeting, not the self-evaluation form. The 90 days that come before both of them. Every visible win you create in that window becomes ammunition for your manager's argument. Every problem you solve publicly in that window becomes a line in their presentation. Stop saving your best contributions for the week before your review. Start delivering them 90 days before the review even appears on the calendar. Patch number 2. Write your manager's script for them. Do not wait to be asked. Do not assume they remember. Do not trust their memory over your documentation. Send your manager a short monthly update. 3 specific wins. 1 number that shows impact. 1 sentence connecting your work to something the company actually cares about. You are not reporting. You are not bragging. You are loading the argument they will need to make on your behalf. You are loading the argument they will need to make on your behalf. They will reach for whatever is most accessible in their memory. Make sure what is most accessible is exactly what you gave them. They will use your words, not their recall. Give them words worth using. Patch number 3. Destroy your invisibility before October arrives. 1 conversation with someone 2 levels above you. 1 contribution to a project outside your team. 1 problem solved in a place where more than your direct manager could see it. Quiet excellence loses calibration meetings. Documented and visible excellence wins them. The employees who receive the highest raises are rarely the hardest workers in the room. They are the most visible workers in the 90 days that matter most. You do not need to become someone different. You need to become someone seen. Case number 0 through 02 is now closed. You now know the meeting exists. You know when it happens. You know exactly what gets said inside it. You know why James lost and why he never knew. You know the 90-day window. And you know the 3 patches that rewrite the outcome. The code has been delivered. Use it. Every week on this channel we open a new case file, a new hidden system, a new piece of code running against you that nobody ever named out loud. Subscribe because the game does not stop, and neither do we.